The hammering on my door at 5 a.m. was a violent, discordant rhythm that shattered the pre-dawn silence. I stumbled out of bed, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. Through the peephole, I saw my neighbor, Mr. Alden, his face a pale, grim mask in the weak glow of the porch light. He was a quiet, retired man who mostly kept to himself, our interactions limited to polite nods. This was unprecedented. I opened the door, the chill morning air biting into my skin. "Mr. Alden, is everything all right?" His eyes, usually calm and distant, were wide with a desperate urgency. He didn't offer a greeting. "Don't go to work today, Leo. Just trust me." The words, delivered in a low, gravelly tone, sent a cold trickle of fear down my spine. What? Why? What's going on? He shook his head, a sharp, final movement. "I can't explain. Not now. Just stay home, lock your door. Don't answer for anyone else." Before I could form another question, he turned and vanished into the shadows of the hallway, leaving me standing there, confused and deeply unsettled. The hours that followed were an agony of suspense. I paced my apartment, my mind racing through 1,000 scenarios, each more absurd and terrifying than the last. Was there a gas leak in the building? A credible threat? Why would Mr. Alden, of all people, know? By 9 a.m., the compulsion to leave for the office was a physical ache, but the memory of his terrified eyes held me back. At noon, the truth arrived, not with a whisper, but with a cataclysmic roar. My phone erupted with news alerts. A massive, coordinated police raid had been executed on my office building. The headlines were stark. Aether Corporation implicated in massive data fraud and money laundering scheme. Dozens of senior executives arrested in Dawn's sting. I watched numb with disbelief as live footage showed my colleagues, the CEO, my direct supervisor, the heads of finance, being let out in handcuffs. The news anchor detailed the charges: embezzlement, wire fraud, a sophisticated operation that had siphoned billions from pension funds. The entire senior leadership was being treated as a criminal conspiracy. My blood ran cold. I was the senior data analyst. I had designed the very algorithms they used to track and move the funds. My name was on those reports. My code was the engine of their entire operation. Had I gone to work, I would have walked directly into the arms of the waiting FBI. I would have been the perfect scapegoat, the technician who facilitated the crime. My life would have been over. But Mr. Alden knew. I waited until the initial chaos subsided, until the last police car had left my TV screen. Then, with a heart heavy with a dreadful understanding, I went next door. I knocked softly. He opened it almost immediately, as if he had been waiting for me. The fear in his eyes had been replaced by a profound, bone-deep exhaustion. "Come in, Leo," he said, his voice weary. His apartment was a mirror of mine, but Spartan, devoid of personal touches except for a single, framed black and white photograph on the mantelpiece. It showed a younger, smiling Mr. Alden, with a woman and a little girl. "You knew?" I said, my voice trembling. "You knew they were coming?" He gestured for me to sit, sinking into his own armchair as if the weight of the world was on his shoulders. "My name is an Alden," he began, his gaze fixed on the photograph. "It's Samuel Riggs. 20 years ago, I was you. I was a bright, ambitious financial engineer at a firm called Omni Group." A cold knot tightened in my stomach. "I designed a revolutionary trading algorithm," he continued, a ghost of pride flickering in his eyes before it died. "My boss, a charismatic man named Charles, said it was for high-frequency trading. I believed him. I was naive, blinded by the promise of bonuses and promotions." He looked directly at me. just like you were. How do you know what I... He interrupted softly. Because Charles is your CEO. The name changed from Omni Group to Aether after the scandal broke, but the man, the methods, they were the same. He used my algorithm to orchestrate a pump and dump scheme that wiped out thousands of lives. And when the SEC came knocking, Charles and his board presented meticulously forged documents, emails, and financial trails. They painted me as the sole architect, the rogue genius who acted alone. The pieces were falling into place with horrifying clarity. I lost everything, Samuel whispered. My career, my reputation, my savings. My wife, the stress was too much. She left me. The only reason I avoided a long prison sentence was a technicality in the evidence chain, but the world already believed I was guilty. I served a different sentence, one of obscurity and shame. I changed my name, moved here, and spent 2 decades watching Charles. I knew he would do it again. He always does. He looks for young, talented, trusting people to build his traps. Tears welled in his eyes. I saw you, Leo. I saw the same drive, the same trust I once had. I heard you talk about your projects, your groundbreaking work. It was all too familiar. I've been monitoring the news, following the investigations I knew were quietly building. I knew the raid was coming today. He had sacrificed his anonymity, his hard-won peace, to save me. This wasn't just a neighborly warning. It was an act of redemption. He was trying to save his own ghost, to rewrite the past by altering my future. I couldn't save myself, Samuel said, his voice cracking. But I could save you. It was the only way I could finally balance the ledger. I looked at the man before me, no longer just Mr. Alden, the quiet neighbor, but Samuel Riggs, a man who had his life stolen and who, 20 years later, had fought back from the shadows to gift me mine. The revenge he sought wasn't violent or loud. It was quiet, strategic, and devastating. It was the prevention of a crime, the salvation of an innocent, and the ultimate proof that the past is never truly buried. It was a ledger settled not with blood, but with a second chance.